Hey, what's up and hello? This is the Chris Nicole bringing you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on what time you are watching this live. Hello, crew. Hope all is well. Make sure you hit the likety like button on the way in, please. I am on my phone, so that means double tap your screen or the three dots to your right to hit the like button if you are on your phone as well. So, I told y'all in one of my videos, I even had it in my thumbnail, okay? And I talked about how the energy outside of Diddy's court was something different. Okay. And there was definitely some energy going on that I could not explain. What I do feel like is there's definitely some witchcraft and some dark energy going on that is causing a lot of people to lose their minds. But it's now over. The trial is over. And I want to talk about some content creators tonight because there has been a lot of drama in regards to several content creators as far as the Diddy trial is concerned. But first things first, I definitely want to shout out all the content creators who did their thing at the Diddy trial. Those who actually are from New York, who was there every day, and those who actually flew into New York to cover the Diddy trial. Shout out to all of you guys. I've heard some great stories. I've heard some horror stories. But I definitely feel like anybody who went there just to really give the coverage to their audience and really put themselves out there, kudos to that. Okay. I'm talking about from all of the big YouTubers all the way down to YouTubers who have just started or small YouTubers such as myself. With that being said, I think everybody knows at this point the top two people who truly showed up and showed out and did their thing would be Tisa Tells and Armon Wiggins. Thank you, my wonderful, wonderful moderator. Because, yes, since I am on my phone, we will probably have a high list of troll alerts and they will definitely go to the block party. But definitely Tisa Taylor and Armon Wiggins did their thing. Okay. They gained a lot of new subscribers. I definitely saw where Tisa at times literally would be on live in front of the courthouse, and literally she would have 40,000 people in her freaking live. Like 40,000 people. And I was like, good grief. Like, I don't think I've ever really seen that high of a like live where that many people are tuning in. Armon Wiggins, the same thing, had about 20,000 people every time he gave his review. They did their thing so much so that even what they call legacy media, the CNNs, the Nancy Graces, the TMZs, all literally decided to use Tisa Tells and Armon Wiggins to give feedback on what was going on as far as the trial is concerned. Okay. Kudos. I mean, one thing about it is if you do the work, you do the time. Hey, at the end of the day, I ain't mad at you. Now, interesting enough, one thing I will say is that Tisa has been very, 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 very pro victim. Okay. And rightfully so. You have a lot of women, not all, because there are some who just for whatever reason are very male identified, but you have a lot of women who were going to be supportive of these women and men who have experienced some form of SA, other abuse, whether it is financial abuse, physical abuse, just abuse, period. So she's very pro victim. But Tisa has been on this Diddy situation since the beginning. Armon, I saw some of his reviews. He was very animated, very engaging as far as giving, his feedback as far as what happened that day. I don't necessarily know if he really chose the side in the situation, but I just felt like he was very engaging and very entertaining with how he recapped what went on in the courtroom. He also had a very like a joke that he had where he would say more oil, or say certain things like that, where it was getting to the point where even people in his audience would actually engage in that way. Why am I bringing that up? Because if you guys have been following this case, if you've been following Armon, if you've been following Tisa, as far as what's been going on, especially after the trial was over, Armon got caught in some stuff. I don't even know how to describe it. But there was a crowd of people outside that included Armon Wiggins, where they were coming off as if they were celebrating that Diddy was not charged and not guilty for the RICO. And they decided to put oil all over their bodies. Okay. Oil all over their bodies. And I believe Armon was saying stuff like more oil, more oil. Now, of course, people who were probably watching him constantly probably was getting the joke and what he was saying. Fortunately, though, it was bad timing, in my opinion, bad taste, because we still have victims at play who are at this point terrified and scared. I literally just saw Jordan, his chef, that we saw on the Diddy documentary, one of the Diddy documentaries, about how she was also abused, assaulted, and experienced so much stuff behind working for Diddy. She literally has a story on her page, and she is terrified. This is what I was nervous about, that these victims are terrified, and these victims are not going to necessarily really want to say anything at this point. So for it to just happen, you have Armon and other content creators, but Armon is the biggest content creator that was in that circle, to be quite honest. And he was the one who had the biggest spotlight on him besides Tisa. So that happened. You had Sean Diddy Combs' son, King Combs, outside doing push-ups and taking his shirt off after the situation like it was a victory. And I guess to not spend life in prison is a victory, but the problem is he hasn't been sentenced yet. Okay, but you have that, and you had all of that stuff going on. So Armon got a lot of backlash, even from some of his followers. Now, when he first came out about people talking about it, he kind of gave that F y'all type of thing, saying that it was out of context. That's not what happened. Now, in my personal opinion, and again, all of this is entertainment purposes only, in my personal opinion, the reason why he did that is because I feel like when he saw his enemies, or people reported to him his enemies were posting about it, like a Tasha K and some other people were posting about how people were seeming like they were celebrating outside of the actual courthouse. I think that's why he kind of got his guard up and he was being defensive. Yes, double tap the screen, please. Double tap the screen, or three dots to your right. He was being defensive. But then when he started to see that not only a lot of his followers, but also the legacy media, because I saw Nancy Grace post that video, and Nancy Grace looked completely disgusted and was like, yeah, that's Armon Wiggins in the center there. I think when he started to realize that some of the people that were calling on him to give case by case of what was going on with the trial, to now being kind of disgusted about what they saw him do, even if they didn't know what he actually was doing it for. Perception is reality to people, especially when a lot of people who are victims felt like they don't like the fact that Diddy got off. It just didn't look good. So Armon ended up giving a statement on his page and apologizing and saying that he's learning, or whatever the case may be. Now, in my personal opinion, he did receive backlash, but not the backlash that I am seeing when it comes to Tisa. And some of y'all are really going to have to break it down to me on what is the big thing about Tisa. Tisa was outside after the verdict, and she had a male heckler who was also a content creator, pretty much, in my opinion, harassing her. I mean, it was insane. Now, from what I heard him say, I think he said something as if she lied on Diddy, she lied on his family. Now, I don't know if she has actually lied on his family. I don't necessarily know if she has lied on Diddy. What I do know is that if that is the case for Tisa, then why isn't everybody looking at all of these content creators who have made so much money and has gotten so many views behind this Diddy case and this Diddy trial? I don't care what your feelings are about Tisa, a man heckling her the way that he was. Thank God she has security. And she even mentioned that her boyfriend actually, I don't know if it's a boyfriend, fiance, husband, actually gave her security. And she's happy that he actually did that, because if she didn't have security, then yeah, it probably would have been an issue. And Armon had the same thing, to be quite honest. This is why I said there was a lot of demonic energy going on out there. Armon had a woman who heckled him and kept following him around. The difference is, though, now, of course, Armon was calling her B words and stuff like that. But the difference is, though, if you know in a physical combat in that situation, we can almost take a guess on who will win in that situation. But when you're a man coming at a woman like that, there's no respect there. Like, I have no respect. And then he started chanting "bad boy." Here's the problem. What he called her out for misreporting. So you mean to tell me heckling, you're saying that wasn't harassment or heckling when he was up there saying "bad boy, bad boy"? That's not heckling and harassment. You could just, if you wanted to say something, you could just simply say, Tisa, you was wrong for doing X, Y, and Z, but you know what? Karma's gonna come to you if you lied, and keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so at the end of the day, the fact that he stood there for a very long time to keep heckling her, and then even started yelling "bad boy" like he gets a bad boy check. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is interesting. Like, I think she said that to the guy who was heckling her, Kevin. I think that's what she said. Now, again, I have seen some of Tisa's videos. I really started to look at Tisa's videos when she gave the scenario about the disabled girl who was accused in Diddy and Jay-Z during, I think, what was the VMAs, and she gave a scenario about how she could have just gotten the year wrong. That's when I really started paying attention to Tisa. And I know Tisa had been on before, and from my understanding, I actually found out this morning from a fellow content creator that, yeah, I think she said that she knows that she's at least been on since 2021. So this girl has been really doing the work for the past 4 years, and she is doing, honestly, a phenomenal job. Like, as far as I see it, that girl was busting her butt. The way that she constantly puts out videos, and the way that she constantly, like, she works. You know what I'm saying? Like, she will definitely work. Let me see. So, okay, so I'm just reading what you guys are saying. So, yeah, so, but in my personal opinion, it has become to me this full on attack on Tisa. I can't tell you since this morning how many videos I have seen about Tisa right now. Now, mind you, I'm sure it's going to help her in some kind of way, because then people are going to be like, well, let me go to this girl's page and see what she's all about. But I just often wonder that, again, the difference between a woman and a man and how women or men are treated. Like, I feel like that is the reason why I am seeing that Tisa's getting backlash a little bit more than Armon. Now, again, if you guys have been following her, I know some people have said that they feel like Tisa lies, she gives misinformation. But if that's the case, a lot of content creators, in my opinion, have given misinformation, but they don't nearly get as much drama as Tisa has gotten. They said she wants to be one when she works, but has to remain integral. Yeah, she has to remain integral, but I guess, well, here's the thing. When you say she has to remain integral, you're talking about a form of being a journalist, right? I don't look at YouTubers as journalists. Now, if you work for MSNBC or CNN and you have like a YouTube channel, that's different. But a YouTuber, I don't see them as integral. I don't. A lot of YouTubers that have literally gotten so many views and so much money, a lot of them have definitely said and done a lot of salacious stuff. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily that all of them are blatantly lying, but you hear a lot of these so-called YouTubers, they always say that some of them embellish the truth, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So but I think that she's always been pro-victim. And when she's pro-victim, she's going to continue to focus on that and always focus on that. Point blank, period. Like if she feels like that person is guilty, she will continue to ride that wave till the wheels fall off. And I don't see anything wrong with that because a lot of people feel like Diddy is guilty. But like I told you guys, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And unfortunately, the prosecution didn't do their job. And in my opinion, it was purposely not done. It was purposely not done. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, does that give anyone the right to heckle Tisa, a man to heckle Tisa the way that he did? Which to me, at a certain point, you may want to say one or two things and you walk on and you keep it moving. But the fact that he just stood there for a good amount of time and kept going on and on, like I am noticing that a lot of men that are pro Diddy in this situation, what are the two things that men, especially black men, constantly talk about? They constantly talk about the system and women. And in this particular case, these men feel like they got a victory because Diddy in their minds got a victory. What do you see? That's why I literally asked for people to come on. You're not giving me specifics though. If she bullied Diddy's kids, how does she bully the kids? Explain to me how bullying the kids. Did she heckle the kids like that guy heckled? Did she like literally kept going on their social media pages, constantly on them? Like, what do you mean by heckling the kids? So that's the thing. And again, I'm here to hear what people literally have to say about Tisa and what, but you're saying bullying the kids. I need specifics on what your definition is on bullying the kids. Because let's be clear, there have been already cases against Justin. Has there been a case against King? Or people have been mentioning allegedly that King is involved in some kind of way. But I do know that Justin has definitely been included in some of the cases. And Justin is grown. You know what I'm saying? Justin is grown. So I need specifics because, again, if she literally, especially for, no, passport, you're here. So explain to me, give me examples of how she bullied the kids. Actually doing a video talking about the kids allegedly being involved in some of the activity, to me, is not bullying the kids. I need specifics on how she bullied the kids. Now, mind you, a couple of those kids are grown. The only ones who are kids at this point are the twins, the other girl who's in the middle, and the baby, if I'm not mistaken. She refused to apologize to Jay-Z. What do you mean by slander? See, this is what I'm talking about. And a lot of, and this is why I'm saying this is just an example of how there's a lot of men who are probably just looking at Tisa as they don't like women. Because what makes her different from slandering Jay-Z versus any other content creator who actually covered the drama with Jay-Z? She's not the only gossip channel who gave insight and so-called inside scoops on what they've heard about Jay-Z. Hell, Sloan Bella, which a lot of people believe everything that comes out of her mouth, has definitely sat up there and said some disparaging things about Jay-Z and Diddy and other people too. Y'all don't sit up there and say that she's slandering them. So this is what I'm saying. Like, if we're going to play fair, let's play fair on all sides. That's my whole thing. Talking about the girl. Okay, so then what did she say about the girls? What did she say about the twins? Are you talking about how she said that she feels sorry for the girls for having a father like that? I know other people who have said that too. So this is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like no one has really been able, besides this morning, one of the fellow content creators, Celebrity Scandalous, I actually spoke to her. She actually broke down some stuff that happened like in the past, I guess when Tisa really started. And shout out to her. She was talking about when Tisa really started, she was talking about Portia and she was talking about some other things or whatever the case may be. And they were saying that, she was just hating on a fellow Black woman and other things like that. I just feel like Tisa is getting a lot of drama right now that other content creators do, but they don't get half of the drama. Democrat money makes things happen. You better say that again, Jesse. You better say that again. And I understand. Yes, definitely double tap the screen or the three dots to your right, or if you're on your computer, just hit the like button. I'm all about just fairness and how everybody gets treated the same way. So at the end of the day, Tisa's not the only one who feels like Diddy is guilty. There were men content creators who felt the same way, but did you see the male content creators get heckled? No. But Tisa got heckled. So this is what I'm saying, that I feel like women content creators versus men content creators get treated differently. You know what I mean? Like, because Tisa, and again, Tisa, I understand that Tisa has pretty privilege, but at the same time, that can be a curse also. Because I do feel like sometimes people will probably look at her and feel like she a punk or she ain't gonna say nothing because of how she look. And definitely during that live, she let him know, the best way possible, while she continued on and tried to be professional talking to her live, that she wasn't no punk. And you just not gonna say anything to her and she not gonna say anything back. But it literally, to me, like the fact that they're saying, again, I've heard people say, Tisa lies, Tisa lies. I would like to know if a lot of these big time YouTubers, everything that they say is the truth. I would like to know. Like, seriously. Like, I would really like to know, because all you have to literally say is word on the street or based on my resources. That doesn't necessarily mean that the person, I just feel like it's selective outrage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like it is selective outrage. Black men did the same thing to Kamala Harris because she was a prosecutor, in my opinion. See, that's what I'm saying. And again, this is what I'm talking about. In this situation, I feel like a lot of men are celebrating because it's two things that they despise the most. The two things they despise the most is the system and women, especially Black women or biracial women or women that can be seen more appealing in the urban community. So this Diddy trial was a victory for a lot of Black men for some reason, and I'm going to Black men because that's my community, because a lot of the times Black men feel like they get railroaded by the system and they get railroaded by women. You see what I'm saying? So, like, and again, I'm not saying that the RICO should have been charged. I'm not saying that. And I understand there's a lot of women who are saying they didn't get the justice and the justice that these victims deserve. If we're talking about DV and all of the other stuff that he did, I still to this day, Diddy is a monster. Like I said, I've always felt negative, dark energy from that man. Point blank, period. But unfortunately, they could not prosecute for the DV stuff. Now, could they have done a better? They could have done a better case with doing other things. But again, I really don't think that was their goal, was to really take him down in that way. I'm sorry. It did not add up to me. And I see a lot of other people are thinking the same way. To me, this was more of a cover up than a case. This was a cover up. This is more of a cover up at the end of the day. And then people were trying to say Tisa is the feds. Now, I find that interesting. I find that interesting that they want to say Tisa is the feds, but the main guy who just got off on 3 counts that could have put him in jail for life, they've been saying he's been an informant and been working for the feds since the early 90s, allegedly. Literally, there's video on YouTube of people saying that. Even Gene Deal said that that man was going to Washington, D.C. to see apparently politicians or people like that back in the early 90s. So I find it interesting that they want to say Tisa is a Fed, but literally the guy who just got off on most of these charges and various other charges in his 30 plus years of being in the industry is not a Fed. You gonna have to show me proof of being an honorary Fed. Just because she don't like Diddy and feels like Diddy is a monster, then that's the case. Every woman who feels like that and every man who feels like that is a Fed. Tisa does work hard. You know what I'm saying? Tisa does work hard. And the thing is, Tisa's a beautiful woman. But at the end of the day, there's no denying that that girl was busting her butt. I don't know where Tisa is originally from, but my guess is that she don't live in the tri-state area and she ended up going there and she busted a butt. I mean, even other content creators who have a lot of views and followers were all saying that Tisa busted her butt. The girl works. You know what I'm saying? She don't like black men, period, except the gay ones. Passport, you know what's interesting about that? I know that she said, shout out to her honey, and I believe she said her honey, a man. It would be very interesting that you say that, and if she's actually with a black man. It would be very interesting that you're saying that she doesn't like black men, but it would be very interesting that if her honey that got her security for this trial is actually a black man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just, I don't know. She seems to be too invested in the outcome. She is not the only one who was invested in the outcome. A lot of people felt like that man was guilty. They were invested. And a lot of people who were invested in the outcome didn't even look like him, meaning they were white or other races. Nancy Grace has been following this case. I believe she felt like he was guilty. What's the other lady who's big a pro-Trump? Is her name Megyn Kelly? Is it Megyn Kelly, the one who has her YouTube? She believed he was guilty. They definitely have talked about it and said this was a misjustice. This was horrible, that he was guilty. So again, I think the issue is that because black women, even pretty privileged black women, light skin with hazel eyes, don't have the complexion for protection, they will get attacked because a Nancy Grace and a Megyn Kelly have also said the same thing, that they feel he's guilty. You know what I mean? But you ain't gonna come after them. Hey, Hankin, what's up? I'm sorry I didn't see you. Shout out to Hankin TV. But yeah, I just, I feel like this because honestly, if y'all want to really talk, saying that she seems too invested in the outcome, a lot of these people out here who were pro Diddy seem too invested in him getting off. So this is what I'm saying. We got to play both sides here. Fair is fair. So if she was too invested, a lot of people are too invested with Diddy being free. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mia. Everyone was invested in the outcome. Look how black men and women are attacking Tisa. Thank you. So this is why I'm saying this is the confusion for me. Double tap the screen, you guys. Double tap the screen and make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, the same day, Diddy Combs posted a video of him dancing that shows money. Not just dancing, but he took his shirt off right by the courthouse and started doing push-ups. If that ain't buffoonery, I don't know what is. Mind you, though, his father has not been sentenced yet. Let Gene Deal tell it. He feels he's at least going to get the minimum. And the minimum, I believe, is 21 to 27 months for each conviction. So potentially he could still have another 4 years that he has to do. And so far, Gene hasn't been wrong in what he's been saying. Gene was on the Art of Dialogue and they asked him about what he feel the verdict would be. That man said, if they come back before the 4th, then it's probably not guilty on a lot of that, a lot of stuff he was charged with. But if they go until after the 4th, they are really trying to sit down and debate and really see if he is guilty of all of these things. And lo and behold, before the 4th, we got the answer and he was spot on. The man, I think, used to be a probation officer or something like that. He worked in the system. Exactly, 100. That shows today. Oh, wait, Jesse, I was going to read it. Okay, well, send it. Okay, I don't. Okay, well, no. Oh, my mod deleted it. So it must have been something that wasn't do whatever you posted, because you seem you've been saying some decent stuff before. No cursing or anything like that. Okay. Yeah, but she's still sulking. Once the jury make the decision, it's a wrap. Okay. Jordan, his chef, is terrified. Tiffany Red, the songwriter who has been talking about the actual issues of the industry and how people take publishing and things like that, she also was disgusted by the outcome. They have made videos and posts about it. This and not to mention, there are also people who are pro Diddy who are still celebrating and posting videos about free Diddy. So again, if those who are celebrating can celebrate, I would say her and anybody else who feel that this was not a fair, verdict, things happened that weren't legit or whatever the case may be, they have every right to talk about it as well. You know what I'm saying? That was Lee, not me, who posted that I don't take credit. Okay, well, looks like one of your things you got deleted for something. So again, I just feel like it's people who are pro Diddy are annoyed by Tisa still talking about it, but also they should be annoyed by everybody else who's talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like they should be annoyed by everybody else, but they just want to keep attacking Tisa. And I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, Tisa, she should have every right to have her opinion on supporting victims. It's not enough people who want to support victims because it hurts their chances of winning a lawsuit. It will not hurt actually their chances of winning a lawsuit. Who told you that? You think that no. If they have proof of things that happen to them, they can still win because those are civil cases. Those are civil cases. So you can still win a civil case if legally somebody, was found not guilty of those charges that they had. So no, they can definitely still win. Hell, if I'm not mistaken, that producer, what's his name? Little Rod or whatever. They're trying to say, I don't know if it was Little Rod or another producer, but I've been seeing videos that they're saying that a producer of Diddy's allegedly claimed that he did pay off some of the jurors. Like, this is not over. It's not over. Now, I don't know what's going to happen between now and October. Now, again, they can expedite the sentencing or the judge can make him sit until October. But I just feel like something else is brewing. Something else is brewing. I just can't put my finger on it, but I do know that energy was given a lot of dark energy at that courthouse. Like, I'm like, who was doing some witchcraft, some voodoo? Because it was some dark energy. Thank you. You cooking in the chat. Oh, Diddy also don't like Kendrick, who said he ain't it. Kendrick Lamar? He don't like Kendrick? I mean, does Diddy really like anyone unless he can make money off of them? And then even making money off of them, that doesn't necessarily mean that he still like them. Like, y'all got to understand that I am old enough to remember when Diddy first came on the scenes. I remember Diddy hanging around celebrities back in the early 90s. Like, if y'all remember back in the day, Showtime at the Apollo used to be like on regular TV. I remember Diddy with all of his teeth, because his teeth used to be like more out there than what they are now, but he definitely had a severe like overbite or something's going on in his teeth. But I remember him being in the balcony with certain celebrities, just kind of being in the background. Diddy has been around, but I remember Diddy coming up Uptown Records and producing for Jodeci and then end up getting Bad Boy. But you don't find a lot of his artists protecting that man. Hell, even in this situation with him going on trial, he claimed Mary J. Blige is like a sister to him. Where was Mary in the situation? Ghost. You didn't hear from Mary. You didn't hear from like the fact that he had nobody who wanted to stand 10 toes down on saying that this is not, what I'm saying, Diddy, this is not him. Like people just trying to get money off of him, to me speaks volumes. It speaks volumes. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just what it is. So that tells you that he's not a good guy. He's a guy that a lot of people feared, so they continue to just deal with him. But a good guy, in my opinion, no. He stole so much from so many. Yeah, he has, allegedly, Mia, and he ain't the only one. This is why I'm saying, like, this is why I say, like, and I'm about to do a membership live tomorrow. And depending on how long it goes, I may post it to the public. But it's kind of giving off that industry informants because people swear up and down Diddy is an informant. It's almost like that is the way that you become untouchable and you can get a certain level of fame. Didn't someone say he had... Ooh. Are you talking about gangrene? Ooh. What? He's not an upstanding dude. I agree with that. Yeah. But again, I'm not saying that he should have got all of those charges and found him guilty because he's a monster. I'm not saying that. But here's the thing. For those who believe in a higher power like myself, Yahweh, sometimes God will humble you and sit you down when it still doesn't make sense to the public. Y'all may think that those charges didn't make sense, but at the end of the day, sometimes God will sometimes put stuff out there to humble you after all the stuff that you've done and you haven't repented for it. And you end up getting caught up, and you end up getting caught up on something that you feel like you shouldn't have got caught up on when you've done other dirt. Well, maybe it's just your time and you're getting your just due, and God is pretty much humbling you or taking you down. Goes the same for if he sold his soul. If he sold his soul, the devil can come collect too, because selling your soul comes for a price as well. So at the end of the day, a lot of things may not make sense, but on a spiritual level, a lot of things won't make sense. Y'all feel what I'm saying? For those who are spiritually inclined, some things that aren't going to make any sense. Now, the reality is, I feel like, do I feel like this is God's doing? I don't know. I feel like God is revealing just a lot more about how wicked this world is. And I even got confirmation on that today in my DM from someone, because I've been feeling that, and it literally just came to pass looking at a DM that I got. I feel like God is revealing evil and is revealing how we're celebrating evil. And I'm not saying like me in particular, but if you notice, a lot of people are celebrating evil. You can feel like he shouldn't have been charged with some of that stuff, but still say he's an evil man and I want nothing to do with him. He can get whatever he deserved, but I just don't feel that he was accused of that RICO or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you have people who look at these celebrities like they are untouchable and truly give praises to these celebrities that don't even deserve it. For example, and like I said, I can definitely be one who has not a victim. I would say that I am someone who has been guilty of that. And let me give you an example. I and McCallie baby. And I was around during the OJ trial. And I know a lot of us black folks in the community was pro OJ, regardless on what he allegedly did as far as the stuff that he did to his former wife. Now again, you may think differently as far as if he actually unalived her or not, but we do know there was definitely pictures and audio of him doing DV when it came to Nicole Brown. But yet the black community, for the most part, was still pro him and wanted him to get off. Now, the reality is, OJ, in my opinion, didn't even give a dang about the black community. He had neglected the black community a long time ago. Didn't care about the black community. Didn't even call himself black. He said he was OJ. But we was literally rooting for that man after the fact that we was like, they just trying to take a black man down. You feel what I'm saying? So I definitely have been guilty of that. But I think over the years, I have definitely said, look, dang it, every situation ain't because they taking down somebody black. Some of these people are getting what the heck they deserve. Period. I doubt that he is the only musician doing that nonsense. Exactly. But here's the problem with that lead. I want all of them to be taken down. See, I'm not looking at this as only a Diddy thing. Everybody who's doing foul stuff needs to be exposed. Like Cat Williams said, I'm not looking at this as that Diddy's the only one who needs to be exposed. All of them do. All of them. Yes, double tap. Thank you, Danielle. Double tap the screen. Hit the like button for your girl, please. The trial was divided by race. I would say race, because I know the thing is that they said on the prosecution side there were 6 white women who were actually the prosecutors. I think culturally there definitely need to be someone who understood the culture more and what possibly people would be thinking to really help in that situation. I really do. But it was also divided by race. I mean by gender, because again, you got 8 men on that jury. 8 men on that jury. My aunt and uncle were like that with Bill Cosby, and my uncle is a pastor. Yeah. And I remember when it first came out about Bill Cosby, and I was like, now, where these females been this whole entire time? Where have they been this whole entire time? Now, keep in mind, my thing is this. We don't know the powers that be that could be purposely trying to take down these men. But does that mean if the powers that be are purposely trying to take down these men, does that mean that these men still didn't do it? Let's have a serious conversation about that. And at a certain point, when you see so many men being taken down, how about you just not engage in the stuff that they're engaging in the first place, so then you won't be taken down? But that's why I'm thinking at this point, do you have to engage in that stuff to actually stay at the top? It's quite interesting and twisted, if you ask me. But yeah, when Bill Cosby, I was like, where these females done been this whole entire time? And then one of my friends who had been like investigating it for years, like me and her ended up getting into it, but she was like, there have been articles about some of these women who came out in the 90s, in the 80s, but because he was seen as untouchable and he was making a lot of money, because the Cosby Show still to this day is a top money maker, and all of the other stuff he created, things were swept under the rug. And then just so happens when it was time, and I guess the powers that be wanted him to be taken down, he got taken down. So I understand people are saying like, oh, they just trying to take him down. But does that mean that they're not guilty? Does that mean that they're not guilty? It's just their time to be taken down. It doesn't mean that they're not guilty, right? And I think that's what it's hard for people to separate. And then for people to say, well, why always got to be black men? It's not just black men. Did y'all really think a Harvey Weinstein, who definitely was huge in Hollywood? Y'all really think, like, I was shocked when that man got taken down. Shocked. Because I truly felt like Not only was he so huge, he had the complexion for protection, but he's still in jail. It takes a lot for these type of people to be taken down, and I do feel like a lot of times they don't get taken down until people are ready for them to be taken down, when they feel like they're no longer useful. So I guess when it comes to Diddy, it's going to really determine on if they feel like he's useful. A lot of people feel like they just wanted to spank him. Now, of course, based on what we've heard about Diddy being a freak, he may like a little spanking, but not this type of spanking. He pissed off the wrong people apparently, and they wanted to humble him. So if that means you going from apparently a billionaire allegedly to now not even having 500 million, have y'all heard that? This man apparently went from being a billionaire to now his net worth ain't even half of a billion. Did y'all hear about that? And I'm like, that really makes me feel like he was never a billionaire. He was never a billionaire. They're saying now he's only worth 400 million. But literally, let's see, how much was he worth in so-called 2023? In 2023, they claim he was a billionaire. He was in Forbes, but now he's only worth 400 million. So you mean to tell me he lost 600 million like that? Is that what we're supposed to believe? It's a state case, but the feds were pending charges so he could take a plea. It's a state case, but the feds were pending charges so he could take a plea. So are you saying the state may still try to charge him, MM? He had to pay them lawyers too. Yeah, but I don't think he had to pay them lawyers 600 million. And apparently Cassie, the money that Cassie got was actually insurance money, not money actually coming out of his pocket, allegedly. So where did that 600 million go? Or maybe it was never there in the first place. Maybe when he was on the good boy team, they made it seem like he was a billionaire, but really he never had that type of money. Because again, net worth doesn't mean that's what you have in your bank accounts. So I'm a little confused on how you go from $1 billion to 400 million net worth. He spent a lot on baby oil and Astroglide. Really, Lee, not 600 million worth now. Come on. No, because the statute of limitations were up. Got it. Well, look, he has a lot of other civil cases that are coming down the pipeline. I don't think this criminal case is going to have anything to do with those civil cases, especially if they have proof. The rest of his money may get eaten up from that. Now, is he going to have to actually pay them? I don't know. Because, OJ was found not guilty of what he was found not guilty of, but still in civil court, they had to apparently pay the Browns and I think the Goldmans, but apparently he never paid that money. He only paid like maybe $50,000 to $100,000. You know, the same thing too. Get overcharged and crucified. Yes, Jesus did, but I know you ain't comparing Jesus and Diddy. That will not be tolerated over here. Jesus did get crucified, but Jesus was perfection and is perfection, and Jesus was trying to save his people. He's the redeemer. Diddy ain't trying to save nobody but himself. Diddy ain't nowhere close to Jesus. And just because that man says God doesn't mean that he's talking about Yahweh. A lot of people call dark energies God too. So the whole overcharge and crucify, we will not be comparing Diddy to Jesus. Absolutely not. That's blasphemy. Jesus died for our sins. Diddy ain't did nothing for nobody but himself, if you ask me. Okay? Not a good comparison, sir. Not a good comparison. You said On was 100% innocent. You mean Jesus was 100% innocent? Exactly. You saying OJ was innocent. A lot of people feel like OJ was innocent of the Nicole Brown-Ron situation. Some people don't feel he was innocent. But again, a lot of us in the Black community made it seem like his victory was our victory. And again, you know why? Because we have been so railroaded by the system, we felt like his win was our win. But OJ didn't give a dang on about the Black community. He did not care. After he won and he realized the Black community was there, he tried to pretend like he wanted chicken and waffles and was going to a Baptist church, knowing dang on well he did not associate with Black people the whole entire time, until he felt like Black people were the reason why he got off of that freaking case. So at the end of the day, some people don't feel he was innocent. Now, again, for me personally, and I've talked about this, I don't feel that OJ physically did it. I don't feel there's no way he was capable of physically doing what he did to, or what they think he did to Nicole and Ron. I just don't think it's possible, especially because I remember us actually going to see her house after in 94. Like, we went by and saw it. Was just, to me, it was no way possible. Now the thing is, no one tried him for saying that he possibly had someone do it. But physically, them trying to say he did it, I just didn't see how it was possible. And I still to this day don't see how it's possible. So yeah, but with that being said, you guys, in regards to Tisa and Armon, I do feel like Tisa is getting a lot more backlash than Armon or any other content creator. And for the life of me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand it. And no one has really been giving me legit concrete evidence of how she lied on the kids, how she lied on Diddy. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like a lot of people just don't like Tisa. You know what I'm saying? They just don't like her, and they're just looking at her as public enemy number one, maybe because of their own personal stuff or whatever the case may be. I don't see it. I really don't. But I think she'll be okay. I think she'll be perfectly fine. Hell, as far as I see it, apparently this girl easily makes about $40,000 or more per month. Tisa probably like, keep my name in your mouths, whether it's negative or positive, because it's gonna make me some money. To me, Tisa Tells is the polished Jaguar, right? I don't know if you touched on that topic yet. So you feel like she's the polished Jaguar, right? And you feel like that she just lies, because a lot of people feel like, you know what I'm saying? Danielle, where are you at? That's all right. I got this. Because literally I already knew the trolls was gonna come. So with that being said, but um Tisa and Jaguar Wright, a lot of people feel like Jaguar Wright lies. Now, my personal opinion with Jaguar Wright is she definitely has gotten caught up in some stuff, but I do feel like she knows certain things. She knows certain things, but not from her own experience, because of what she's heard. That's my personal opinion. And that could be the same for Tisa. She has inside sources that give her information. What the heck? Passport, are you seriously want me? Why are you bringing up Emmett Till? Emmett Till, when we're talking about a Diddy or an OJ, Emmett Till, you done brought up Jesus, you done brought up Emmett Till. Like, at this point, I'm thinking you're trolling. You can't compare Jesus to any of these fools we talked about, and you can't compare Emmett Till to no Diddy or no OJ. Emmett Till allegedly, well, pretty much we found out she lied. But what happened was she tried to say he allegedly whistled at her or winked at her. And next thing you know, we know what happened to him. Why are you even talking about him? Totally different situation. Child, let's move on. So yeah, so when it comes to Tisa And when it comes to Armon, like I feel like at the end of the day, Armon is going to be able to bounce back quicker, and primarily because we're in a patriarchal society. Now, yes, he did apologize, but to me, he needed to apologize for what happened outside of that courtroom. It just did not look good. Even if he was just trying to cackle at his joke that he had on his live, the timing and everything just, it did not look good. And I think he had to process that after the main legacy media started talking about it, and he was like, oh crap, Armon is another one who has busted his butt for years. He has busted his butt for years. He finally, with this Diddy trial, was getting into, the atmosphere or the stratosphere that he wanted to get to, like TMZ, Nancy Grace, like he was doing his thing. And shout out to him. I'm not taking nothing from that man. Was doing his thing. Now it's interesting to see if those legacy media outlets are still going to call him after this 30 seconds of baby oil fun. How potentially all of these years that you've been waiting to get to this moment, and this is your time, that potentially your 30 minutes of baby oil fun outside could have potentially ruined your opportunities with legacy media. He's still going to soar on YouTube, but I've always felt like Armon wanted to get to higher levels above YouTube, and he was doing that for this case. But it may have actually backfired at this point. And now he may be regretting that small little moment of baby oil fun for him, because he thought it was fun. And people didn't think it was funny at all whatsoever. So, but Tisa, one thing I will say is Tisa is getting backlash from, I guess, men and women who are male identified. She's getting backlash from, I guess, the comments and stuff like that, and the people on YouTube. But you know who she's not getting backlash from? The main media. Nancy Grace had her on after she got heckled by that YouTuber. She also has been on some other outlets as well after that. So she is getting pushed up even higher, because they're looking at her as a woman who really was trying to fight for victims, and she pretty much got harassed outside of the court because she was just doing her job. And I think a lot of women will be able to relate to that, and some men too. So to me, all of this has pushed her up there. And you know what? She's put in the work. A lot of people may say she's lied or whatever case may be. Again, I feel like she is not the only one. If she has done that, there's a lot of people who embellish the truth or whatever the case may be on YouTube. A lot of them do. And a lot of them make a lot of money doing it. At the end of the day, now me personally, no. I have definitely given, rumor has it and things that I have heard, but I don't want to make a YouTube career in that way. If you guys feel like there's actually been a lot of lies, because one wrong lie and one person who wants to sue you, or one wrong thing that you said that can completely demonetize or take away your channel, you no longer have a career. This is why I say I don't know if I necessarily ever want to be a full-time YouTuber. I can't see it, because we've seen so many times where people have gotten demonetized who was making a ton of money, and then literally for 90 days or even forever, they no longer can make that money. I can't do that. I can't do that. But yeah, you guys, I wanted to talk about this. I do feel like Tisa is just getting just a lot of drama for no reason. Shout out to Tisa and Armon. It was very big of Armon to apologize for the situation. I don't know if that's going to change how people feel at this point, but at least he was man enough to apologize. Keep doing your thing, Armon, but Tisa, also keep doing your thing. Keep doing your thing. Like, at the end of the day, she has always said she's pro victim. You know what I mean? She's pro victim, and she's gonna stand 10 toes down. And honestly, these victims coming out saying that they're scared and they're terrified because of Diddy possibly being able to get out by October or less than that, or even just spend a couple of years, they're terrified. And I think that's why she's going to continue, because she feels like people are there, who are scared as all hell because of what they know that, and they feel that Diddy is capable of doing. You know what I'm saying? So, that's just what it is. But with that, you guys, let's continue the conversation. I feel at this point like Tisa is just getting too much drama for no reason. Just no reason. Let the girl do her thing, and she's doing an amazing job at it. Like, at the end of the day, she and again, because we were talking about this earlier, a lot of this could be hate too. A lot of this can be hate, because Tisa is doing her thing. She making a lot of money. She's doing a big one. I mean, you know what I'm saying? She's doing her big one. And we have a lot of people out there who do way worse and treat people horribly who make more money than her. But don't nobody want to say nothing about them. Don't nobody want to talk about the Diddies of the world who have done some horrible things and allegedly stole people's copyright, their publishing and everything else, and have done SADV and all of that stuff allegedly. No one wants to talk about them, but people want to talk about Tisa reporting it. It doesn't make sense to me. But with that being said, you guys, let's continue the conversation below. Do you feel like Tisa is getting mistreated more than Armon? Do you feel like it's deserved? And if you feel like it's deserved, by all means, give me examples. Show me the video links of where she's lied on the kids and she's lied on Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, show me. Instead of telling me, show me the links of where I can go to see where Tisa has said those things. I still don't feel like what she's going through right now is warranted. Like, good grief. So I feel like it's something else there. But like I told y'all, it's that dark demonic energy. I told y'all literally like a month ago, I said, what is the energy going on in front of that courthouse? What is the energy going on? Like, I feel like it was all types of spirits out there. And clearly it did not stop even with the verdict. But with that being said, you guys, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on my next video. Toodle.